Welcome to the Schuby Show, where sports, movies, TV shows, technology, history, and more come to life. Now, please be seated and get ready for some more never-ending nonsense with yours truly, Schuby.
This is the Schuby Show with yours truly, Carson Schubert. And you can follow me on Twitter at Radio Ruben. Today on the show, we are going to talk about the legend, one of the legends of rock and roll, early rock and roll, Charles Edward Anderson, also known as Chuck Berry. He passed away at the age of 90. He was born October 18, 1926, and passed away March 18th last week. He died in Wentzville, Missouri. Wow, is that actually a thing? Wentzville? Sounds like Carson Wentz. But today we'll be talking a little bit about Chuck Berry. I don't know how long the show is going to be. Probably not too long. But we will have a little bit of a tribute. I don't have any music from Chuck Berry to play, so I will just go through the songs because I do not want to get in trouble by his family or something, or by companies that have his songs or whatever. So before we get things going, again, as I said, you can follow me on Twitter at Radio Ruben, and if you have any inquiries for the show, or if you know somebody with sports, movies, TV shows, technology, history, or anything else of any of those knowledge realms, I guess you would say, you can have them contact me, Schuby, at the Schuby Show, theschubyshow at gmail.com, or you can go to our website, have them go to our website, theschubyshow.webs.com. And we'd love to have them on. We're still looking for guests to fill in the slots here in the coming weeks. It might be a week or two yet before we get our first guest on the show, but we can look forward to that. Maybe some music guests as well, as we're talking about Chuck Berry. That is the more part of the show today instead of sports. We are doing a legend in the music industry. Please have them contact us via email or social media or on our website, and we'll talk about social stuff later. But Chuck Berry, the legend. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame on its opening back in 1986. He was cited for having laid the groundwork not only for rock and roll sound, but a rock and roll stance. He was in many Rolling Stone magazines. He was in the Greatest of All Time lists. He was ranked 5th on its 2004 list of the 100 greatest artists of all time. That's quite incredible. So definitely a great performer, great artist. Of course, known for some of these songs. Johnny Be Good. It's probably the number one that you would think of. Roll Over Beethoven. Also a very good one. He also sang My Ding-a-Ling, which a lot of people get a kick out of that song, and I heard that the other day. That was pretty funny. You Can Never Tell. Those are probably about his top 5 or top 4 songs right there. Also, rock and roll music. Sweet Little 16, No Particular Place to Go, Nadine, Memphis, Tennessee, Back in the USA, Run Rudolph Run. Little Queenie, School Day, all kinds of different songs from the legend Chuck Berry. He, as I said, died last week, March 18th. Last week, Friday, I believe. Actually, that was Saturday when he passed away. See if we can find if I think he just basically died of old age, from what I've heard anyway. But of course, I don't watch the news much. Yes. On March 18th, 2017, police in St. Charles County, Missouri, were called to Chuck Berry's house, where he was found unresponsive. He was pronounced dead at the scene at the age of 90. According to a report on March 20, he died from natural causes, and no autopsy is going to be performed. However, the call to 911 showed that he had a heart attack. So that could be a possibility too, I guess. But I mean, it's hard to say. Also, earlier this year, Chuck Berry announced on his 90th birthday that his first new studio album since Rocket in 1979, entitled Chuck, would be released in 2017. It's his first new record in 38 years. It'll include his children, Charles Berry Jr. and Ingrid on guitar and harmonica, songs covering the spectrum from hard-driving rockers to soulful, thought-provoking time capsules of a life's work, and dedicated to his wife of 68 years, Themeta Berry. Themeta? I don't know. But yeah, he died at 90. He died, his 90th birthday was in October of last year, so he did live to be 90. That's quite an accomplishment. And of course, he's played many different places throughout his career. Never had the privilege of seeing him, but that would have been quite something to see him perform, I'm sure, with all the songs he's got that are pretty common. And there's a lot of artists that I know of anyway, for me, that I know, and then I don't end up knowing their song. But then it's like when I get to hearing more of their work, it's like, oh, they sing that song, it's like you know the song, but you don't know who sings it. That's the word that's what I'm thinking of here. But yeah, Chuck Berry. He was born in St. Louis. He had 6 siblings. Just a most memorable artist. Of course, my favorite memory of Chuck Berry that he wasn't even actually in. Well, he was actually a part of the movie, but he didn't actually end up singing it. I guess I should do more research of that. But when he was in Back to the Future, that was awesome. Because, of course, Marty McFly, of course, put himself on stage singing Johnny Be Good at his mom and dad's Enchantment Under the Sea dance after he went back in time. It was hilarious. But that was one of my most memorable scenes from any of his songs being in movies. Johnny Be Good, in June 2008, Johnny Be Good was ranked first in the 100 greatest guitar songs of all time. So that is quite something. He's been on many, many lists. He is just fantastic. Obviously, even if you are not necessarily a classic rock fan, you got to just appreciate the greatness that Chuck Berry left behind. And definitely one of those guys you wish you could have seen in concert if you didn't, and I'm one of those people that think that right now. But he was great for a long period of time. He was still performing, I guess, since 2000 or in this year, I guess. Maybe not as much. Let's see. toured Europe with stops in Sweden in 2008. He did pass out and had to be helped off stage on New Year's Day in 2011. He was suffering from exhaustion. But it seems like he performed almost to the final years of his death. Maybe not quite as much in the later years of his life, but he was definitely an icon for sure. He'll definitely be missed. And he was recognized by different presidents, Jimmy Carter and Bill Clinton at different times for different things and that kind of thing. So definitely left a big impact in our country. And in music, just in music, he was fantastic for a long time in music as he traveled. Here's the interesting story. In 1955, Barry traveled to Chicago where he met Muddy Waters, who suggested he contact Leonard Chess of Chess Records. Barry thought his blues music would be of more interest to Chess, but to his surprise, it was a traditional country fiddle tune, Ida Red, as recorded by Bob Wills. And that got Chess's attention. Chess had seen the rhythm and blues market shrink and was not looking to move beyond it, and he thought Barry might just be the artist for that purpose. And he made an adaptation to the song. It's kind of his first song. Made an adaptation to Ida Red under the title Maybelline with Johnny Johnson, and on the piano, and then Jerome Green on the maracas, Jasper Thomas on the drums, and Willie Dixon on the bass. Maybelline sold over 1 million copies, reaching the number 1 on the Billboard magazine's Rhythm and Blues chart and number 5 on its bestsellers in stores chart for 1955, September 10th, 1955. Barry said it came out at the right time when Afro-American music was spilling over into the mainstream pop. Said that on March. That was said on March 18, 2017. That was the date of his death. Or NBC News reported that. Evening News reported that. So, he had many great. That was kind of an interesting story how he started out. He had to start out by doing a rendition of another song, and then that kind of got his start. And then, of course, you get songs like Johnny Be Good in 2000, or not 2000. Came out in 19... goodness. 19... can't find it. 1958? Yeah, 1958, so not too long after that. And, so yeah, he definitely left an impact behind, did Chuck Berry. And, he will definitely be missed. And, unfortunately, we don't have any, Chuck Berry songs to play, otherwise I could make up for my loss of words right now, but we'll play something funky or something at the end of the show you can jam out to on the way out of the show here. But quite a loss, even though he was 90 years old. He leaves behind a big legacy. And according to the journalist Chuck Klosterman, he argued that in 300 years, Barry will still be remembered as the rock musician who most closely captured the essence of rock and roll. So that's quite high praise. So, but I agree. Chuck Berry will more than likely be remembered for a long time. Definitely one of the legends of rock and roll, but not only rock and roll. He was one of the legends of music, period. He will be sorely missed, and we will miss him in our country, but his music will live on for a long time to come. So we look forward to hearing more Chuck Berry in the future. But until that time, we will let's talk a little bit about some things that I'm going to be doing on the show here later this week. I think that's going to about do it for today's episode already. It's been a pretty boring episode, so this might be the worst episode of the year, or of the episodes so far. There's only been 2. But, so coming up, I might eventually start doing some movie reviews, or talking about some movies that I go to. I haven't gone to a movie in a while, but I'll be talking about that, and maybe talk about some Netflix stuff. And again, trying to get guests on the show. I'll be trying to contact them through Twitter and different things like that to try and get attention and get their attention, and maybe get somebody to come on the show as a guest, and we can talk to them and hopefully get some good insight on whatever it is they're an expert in, or whatever they do, and that type of thing. So we'll look forward to that. But until then, I'll be talking about different things I find interesting. Chuck Berry was the thing that I found interesting today. The guy I found interesting today, he was part of the More when you see the description of our show. So again, can't play a Chuck Berry song, but we'll close out with some sort of funky music that I'll find here in a moment. But don't forget to follow the show on our social media platforms, Facebook.com /TheSchubyshow, and Twitter.com/TheSchubyshow, and Instagram.com /TheSchubyshow. If you know somebody who's knowledgeable with sports, movies, TV shows, technology, history, or just think they'd be a good guest, please contact us via email or social media, theshubyshow@gmail.com, or the platforms I listed already. Again, follow me on Twitter @RadioRuben, and visit our website, theshubyshow.webs.com. For Carson, I'm signing out. We will see you later this week.
Thanks for listening to The Schuby Show. We hope you mildly enjoyed yourself with more never-ending nonsense with yours truly. For more nonsense, go to the website, theschubyshow.webs.com. Get the show on iTunes, Google Play, YouTube, Stitcher, and TuneIn Radio. Until next time, Skol.